Okay. Canadian broker question. Legacy impression question. Meow meow question. Okay. Frodo Baggins. We totally went to the moon. I grew up in Houston and have seen the moon rocks. I've seen moon rocks too. If you ever had the chance in school to have moon rocks come to your school, it was quite the event. When I was in 9th grade, a dude came from NASA to my science class, and there was literally 2 men with submachine guns in our classroom. You know, talking like gun-free school zone or whatever. There are 2 men in suits with submachine guns, like around their necks, and like a nerd from NASA who came with this locked box and brought out like some containers full of basalt rocks. And we got to see them and not touch them. And that was our experience. The other really cool thing he did is he brought a tile from the space shuttle, and the space shuttle tiles are like the most thermally conductive things in the entire world. And what he did is I may have told the story before, but he placed the tile on this holder, and he took a torch that was just like blue flame, just insanely hot. He just blasted this thing and had a conversation with us while talking. And this thing is just glowing. It's glowing red. It's glowing blue. It's glowing white. It's just absolutely, the heat is coming off of it. And people are like in the front row starting to sweat because of how much heat is coming off this thing. And this guy's blasting this thing for like 20 minutes while talking all about science of, you know, how we get into space and do the orbiting, whatever. And he puts the torch down and picked up the tile. And we all screamed, and it was room temperature. So this thing was like glowing a kajillion degrees, and he just immediately took the torch off it and picked it up, and it was room temperature. That's how quickly it cleared that heat and how conductive it was. Absolutely incredible technology goes into that stuff. So I highly recommend being a 9th grader and having NASA bring rocks and a space tile to your classroom. It'll blow your mind. Let's take a trip somewhere in the world, and we will go. Come on, click. We will go there. Bam, bam. We're going to Shaboom. Where were we? Australia? Borneo? Oh, we're China. This is the giant new radio telescope. So, see that guy right there? So this is the new record holder for biggest radio telescope. It's huge. How big is it across? Let's do a quick little measurement. So it is 1/3 of a mile across in diameter. That's a pretty big radio telescope. Although I don't see in this picture, I don't see the crane it needs for doing the array for the antenna. We got a soccer field. They got a soccer field there. That's pretty sweet. It's in the crater of, looks like an old volcano. It's like what they had in Arecibo in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. So the old world record holder fell apart because the United States government sucks at maintaining their infrastructure. Where are you, Arecibo telescope? Oh, that's not it. Arecibo telescope. Where are you? Is that it? There it is. So this is the one from you saw on GoldenEye. It was built into the crater of an ancient volcano. How big is this one? I don't think it's quite as big. It's about not quite, about 1/5 of a mile across. So it's smaller. It was the largest radio telescope in the world, and they let it fall into disrepair because we're America and we fight over budgeting things. Then it got its ass kicked during Hurricane Maria, and we just never bothered to do anything about it. So both these telescopes, because they're fixed, they're spherical in shape. So they're little hemispheres. And what you do is to get a focal point, you have a crane with an antenna, and to point somewhere, you have to move the antenna over to where that focal point is. And because it's fixed, it rotates with the Earth. And as it rotates with the Earth, it gets these kind of Doppler shifted, I don't know what to call them, like signals, because you can only see the star for a moment. So as it rolls by, so you get that star for a moment, and it kind of does this weird Doppler shift as you rotate by. So if you ever had Boink, the SETI at home screensaver on your computer back in the day, you were processing most likely Arecibo data. And the data would have these weird kind of intensity spikes that made it look like the sinusoidal waves as different stars passed by the focal point of the antenna. And it can look 24 hours a day, daytime, nighttime. Radio telescopes don't care as long as it's not pointed at the sun. And so it was a fantastic passive way of measuring radio signals coming from the stars and looking for patterns. But we suck as a nation now when it comes to scientific advancements, and we just don't maintain our infrastructure. So now China has the biggest one in the world, which is significantly larger than this guy. It's a third of a mile across, and this is only a fifth of a mile across. And it's newer technology, and they're maintaining it. So they're probably doing it with US dollars. They probably took out some bonds, had US investors pay for those bonds, and they built themselves an amazing telescope rather than just us paying for one here because America, right? So that's lame. That's super lame. Can I actually, oops. I can make this a little bigger, can't I? Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Hacha.